Okay, good morning. Good morning. I'm learning the hard way that I need to make a new video. I haven't made videos in a few years, actually. Going through what actors need to know to properly get their profiles set up. Apparently, it doesn't matter how much I tell you guys, don't submit for an agent until you're absolutely ready. You're not listening to me. So, what I'm going to do is walk you through the steps today to show you, at a bare minimum, of what your profile should look like. Media will not be included only because I'm not going to pay $22 to upload something to show you guys what your profile should look like, but it's a no-brainer. If you don't have a demo reel, you don't need to be acting, period. Now, you can get plucked off the street and a producer wants to put you in their film, great. Does that mean you're going to get more movies after that? No, okay? So don't take a one-off scenario and think that, oh, you're ready for this, because you're not. All right, so if you follow me on Instagram, Tiana Says, in the bio, there's a link there for a website. The website is blacktalentagent.com. Apparently, none of you are actually paying attention to what's on the site, so let's go through that now. On the site, I put here 3 times in a row, Facebook has banned my websites because I comment on Black issues affecting Black lives, so this site is just a landing page. To work with me, please visit www.thejacksonagency.com. I've had several DMs, including one person this morning, trying to offer me, I guess, their version of constructive criticism to tell me that this site is not fully developed. No shit. Yeah, it's in Latin. Because what I was hoping was that you would read basically the first thing you saw, which was I literally just made this site because Facebook hasn't banned it yet. You need to go to my actual website to submit. I had to remove my contact form because apparently you guys didn't pay attention to any of this and not notice how none of it is actually fleshed out. So I had to remove the contact form last night because I was getting contact emails to one of my personal emails, and I just deleted them because if you guys submit it over there, then there's no hope for you. I'm sorry. There's no nice way I can say this. You need to actually go to my website. But again, I cannot list my website because Facebook has banned me. Okay? I can't post any of my website URLs. So this is why I had to make this one, hoping that you guys would go there. The reason why, and before somebody else comes to my DMs, well, why didn't you just do a redirect? I didn't do a redirect because I didn't want Facebook to ban this damn website too. Anywho, what I did do this morning was, I'm going to refresh the page because I actually added some things in here. I put this button right here called Actors Access Tutorial. So if you go to blacktalentagent.com right now and click on this, in theory, if I did it right, you should be taken to this actual live stream. Look at that. It's happening in real time right now. So you can go ahead and head over to the website and click Access Tutorial. You can hang out here on Instagram, but I'm not going to be moving this camera. You're actually on a second screen. So I would suggest you actually go to the live feed and learn what needs to be done. Talent Consult LA. I don't know who you are or why you're running around here. I don't like it, so I'll deal with you later. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So Actors Access is a website that actors use to submit for various projects, television shows, commercials, all kinds of stuff, okay? On the agent side, it's primarily TV shows, feature films, and commercials. But the majority of it really are TV shows and feature films more than anything. We do see commercials. We see like short films from time to time, new media and stuff. But typically we see the stuff that actors just cannot see. So that's one of the reasons why you guys have to have an agent in order to book TV and film, okay? This is a direct link to my profile inside of Actors Access that I use as a dummy profile for this exact reason, to show you guys how to do stuff, okay? I'm not going to be logging in through Actors Access, mainly because I'm just lazy and don't feel like it. So I'm actually logged in through my agent's account, and I can actually edit profiles, okay? There are things that we can do to edit, but at the end of the day, that is not our responsibility. So don't come at me talking about, why don't you just fix it for me? You can pay me $1,500 if that's the case, okay? All right, as you can see, there are 2 headshots there, all right? I may or may not get into the headshots because I have to navigate through some back portals, and I really don't want to show you guys the agent side. But I will say this. With Actors Access, you get to upload 2 free headshots. All right? You can upload 2 free headshots. At any time, you can take down those 2 free headshots and replace them with 2 brand new free headshots. So this notion of not having any funds is foreign to me because it's $0 to put up 2 headshots. When you want to start putting up more headshots, that's when it costs money. It costs, I believe, $10 a headshot. Okay. So not having up headshots on Actors Access, there's really no daggone excuse. I think Casting Networks has now switched to like 1 free media and like 1 free headshot or something. So when you're not updating stuff on your profiles, that's just showing me that you just really don't care. Okay. All right. I'm not going to be uploading media because media costs $22 a minute to upload. So I won't be doing that. But I will tell you right now, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't upload a demo reel. I'm not going to run to your website to go look at your footage. I hate to break it to you. That's not what I'm going to do. I can't tell you whether or not a casting director will take the time to do that. Sometimes they have a little bit more time on their hands than we do. As an agent, I'm working on all 500 breakdowns that come out every day nationwide. So I don't have time to sit up here and focus on one person and one thing. Whereas most casting directors will cast somewhere between 1 to 5 projects simultaneously. Obviously, if they have 1 project, they've got a little bit more downtime than I do. All right, so let's get into what this is. So this is an overview of what the resume looked like before. These are things that I've done on the fly in the past to just show you guys how to do it. So what I've done now is I've actually deleted all those things. And we're going to actually get in here and start building this thing from scratch. Okay. Okay, so here we go. All right, so when you come in here, this is on the back end. You notice mine is called Breakdown Express. So again, I'm in as my agent's account. So what you're going to do is you're going to find where Edit Resume is on Actors Access, and you're going to start to do some things. I want to point out some key areas now. Header. What header does is turn this line into sort of a gray row. You notice it kind of gets rid of, not even kind of, it gets rid of the 3-column format, and it actually just grays it out completely so that you can create a header, meaning film. So we'll punch in film. Okay. Underneath here with the 3-column format, column 1 is going to be the name of the project. Column 2 is going to be basically your billing, meaning what were you? Were you co-star, guest star, lead, or supporting? In this instance with film, we only use lead or supporting. And I'm putting these in as examples just so you see what it could be. And then this last part, you can either put in the production code, which is production company. You can put in the director. You can put in the network. And so I'll go through that now. So again, this first line is just a placeholder, kind of a visual reminder of what it is that you can do. This is not what it actually is going to look like on your resume. What it is going to look like on your resume will be like this. The feature film, Lost Boys. Notice I'm using caps. In that film, I was supporting. And whoever the production company was, we'll just say, a good production company. We'll just choose 3 Arts for now. 3 Arts Entertainment. Okay. If you guys are just tuning in on Instagram, you can head on over to the link in my bio, blacktalentagent.com, scroll down on the page, and you'll see a button there that says Actors Access Tutorial. And you can join this tutorial live on YouTube, which is what I recommend versus just sitting here on Instagram. Okay. So right now we've done 1 feature film. Let's do another feature film. Let's do Clueless, right? In that, I was a lead. I was Stacey Dash. I don't remember who shot this thing, so we're just going to say Universal Studios. Okay. Now, say I wanted to change it and put the director in there. I tend to do a DIR. Okay. And then the director's name. Or you can do their name, Joe Schmo, DIR. Okay. So with that, obviously, keeping the caps just look better, okay? It's not the end of the world if you don't use the caps, but at my agency, caps are mandatory. It just looks better, all right? So notice I'm not putting in character names. We're not putting extra. We're not putting featured. We're not putting background. That is a no-no, okay, as far as I'm concerned. You can go listen to somebody else, but if you're trying to work with me, if I see this shit on your resume, I'm not calling you in, okay? Or if I call you in, I'm going to talk to you about it and be like, so why would a casting director who only casts on camera opportunities, because it's rare that a casting director, especially a CSA casting director, would cast principal roles and then turn around and cast background. Typically, there are background casting agencies that deal with that because that's their forte. So understand that there are differences, that there are significant differences. I don't mean to knock background work. I did background work in college. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. It's a great way to sustain yourself. And sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes they can say, here, stand here and say this line. And then boom, you just got yourself a line. It's another pathway to breaking in. But what I'm saying is that for me, I don't want to see it on your resume unless you actually got a line. So what happens is you guys will sit up here and put, well, I was on Insecure and I was on This Is Us and I was on this and I was on that, but you were just background. That's not the same. That's not going to make a casting director be like, oh my gosh, they're this amazing actor. I want to call them in. All right. So that's enough about that. Take it off. We'll put one more film there. Rollerball, right? Just giving away my age. Okay, so if you look, you're seeing that I'm putting the name of the project in the first column. I'm putting lead or supporting in the second column. And then in the third column, I'm choosing to either put the production company, the director, or potentially the studio that filmed it. It's up to you on that one, because what you kind of want to do is if somebody has a name more so than something else, you're going to want to use that name. Okay. The difference, and I'll say this now as an asterisk, is going to be commercials. I'm going to give you a tip with that nobody really talks about. A casting director mentioned something to me casually, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's brilliant. So we're going to talk about that in a second when I get to commercials. All right. So this is film. So if we go back, I started with a header. Again, you can click the link in the bio to catch up live on YouTube with this. In fact, I'm about to stop live streaming, so I would suggest that you head on over to YouTube to watch this. Instagram, goodbye. And let me take a moment. Give me 1 second here. You're going to need to be typing stuff in anyway. I got to get rid of this little weird console person that is running around, because I don't know what that's all about. I don't like it. Yeah, okay. They were up to no good, so they got rid of themselves. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, this don't make no sense. Hold on. Gotta find them. Yeah, they went ahead and blocked me because I mentioned them. All right, cool. So what I just don't want is somebody sniffing around that's up to no good. That's not going to help anybody in any way, shape, or form. So that tells me everything I need to know. All right. We're going to move on and we're going to create another header. So again, the headers are the way you basically label what everything is going to look like. This is how you describe whatever this section is. I do not recommend combining sections. Some of you guys will come and you'll have film, TV, and commercial all as one header. I don't recommend that. For me personally, I want to know what films you've been in, what television shows you've been in, what commercials you've been in, and I want to see them separately. Okay, so for the header, we have television. It's going to be the same thing we did before. The name of the project. Billing, which is going to be either series regular, co-star, guest star. Okay, those are U5 even, but we'll get into that in a second. And then it's going to be the same thing. Typically, for me, I would just do the network, because if you've done major network stuff, that's what's going to help you go out more, in my opinion. All right, so we'll do you guys' favorite show, right? You guys want to be on all the Golden Globe shows. So on here, I was a co-star. And if you actually are aware, Fox produces this show, even though it airs on NBC, okay? So then after that, we'll do your next favorite show, Insecure. I was you can even put U5, which is under 5, okay? Under 5 lines, and that was for HBO, okay? What else do you like? You guys like Succession. I'm trying to look on this live screen. I shouldn't be. On there, I might have been recurring, meaning I've appeared on there multiple times. I got called back again, right? And what is Succession? Is that on HBO? We're just going to go ahead and say that, yeah, HBO. And then Billions. Somehow I managed to go to New York and get a co-star on there, right? And that was Showtime. Okay. Now I've seen some people do Showtime and then, DIR, whoever the director was, you can do that. Okay. So say the director was somebody amazing. I love using Lori Petty as an example. There's that. All right. So I'm going to delete my little placeholders here that show you guys what everything is. We can delete this line. I'm sorry. No, we can't delete that line. We can slide everything up. And that's the thing too, you have to understand what these arrows are. It's manipulation. So I can actually move this down and just get this out of the way. It's fine. All right. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing here when I delete this. So now we're sliding all this stuff down out of the way. Okay. If I wanted to insert a line, I can insert here and it'll put a line right above there and I can add in something. So this is what you do for later, for when you come back and you need to add to your resume. You go near the section you want to add something to and put it in. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and create our next header. And that header is going to be commercials. All right. Now, there's two schools of thinking when it comes to this. Upon request is what you'll find some of your older casting directors want to see. Okay, because that's how things were done. That was industry standard. I'm finding that over the years I've been doing this, the game is changing. And so I'm going to recommend you do this now going forward, especially if you don't have a resume. Put in your commercials. But what I think you need to do is this. So if you had a commercial, it was for 7-Up, in there, you can literally say lead. You could say co-star. I can't say that I found the appropriate term, okay? Featured is something that, again, I tend to stay away from just because of an experience I had with a casting director where a client of mine had that on their resume and she said, this just looks like this person's done background. We're not going to call them in. So that's where all of this is coming from, is real life experiences. Lead. Now, what I suggest you do instead of the production company here is put the director's name. The reason why is this. I actually asked some commercial casting directors that I'm halfway cool with their opinion and position when it came to what should you have in your resume for commercials. These guys only do commercials, okay? So one of them was just like, oh, you put upon request, like, and then if we want to see something, we request it. The other was like, well, I actually like it when they list their commercials because it might be, they might have been in a commercial that a director that I'm working with, I cast them in. And so it's actually beneficial to me to call that person in again because the director will be pleased. Basically, the director will be happy. It's someone they've already worked with, someone they know. Directors may not be running around thinking, oh, I'm just always going to request Tiana for my commercials. But they see a familiar face and they had a pleasant experience with you, they might book you again. So I can understand the strategy. I can understand the logic. And so this is now my strategy. Okay. So in there, you'll do DIR and that. And don't forget, do your caps. Okay. So that's what I suggest you do. What you'll see when you book a commercial is you'll either be principal or supporting. Okay. That's kind of what they'll be. Why am I not able to type? That's kind of what they'll be in the system when we are actually submitting you guys for projects. And sometimes when you guys see them too, that's what will be in the system. So you can try that as well. When in doubt, lead. You have to remember your resume paints a picture of you and how to perceive you. So if you're, misrepresenting yourself, it's not a good look. And I say this because somebody actually did a really great job of it, but I caught it. This person went on IMDb and put in like 4 or 5 major TV shows and said that they were a co-star on them, and their resume was clean. It was boom, these 4 right there. And they did the same thing on Actors Access. So when I looked at them on IMDb, it matched Actors Access, but there was one key thing missing: the media. Okay. So I asked them, where are the clips showing that you were on this show? And then they just said, oh, I don't have them. I haven't been able to get them, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's absolute bullshit. Okay. You have Breakdown Express. They have like Air Checker. And then there's this new one that emails me all the time. In fact, when you guys are in shows, it emails me and says, Tiana, here's the footage of your client on this show. Okay. So this is a case where not everybody is going to catch this. I'm just used to you guys having shenanigans and people doing Trojan horses and really just messing with me all day. So I have to check into things and look into things and make sure everything is what it's supposed to be. So the red flag for me is when you don't have any footage of a show you've been on. Today, I'm having a meeting with a woman who was acting heavily in the 90s. When we looked at her resume, we saw all these great shows. What I also saw were clips that matched everything. So I'm excited to meet her today because her resume checks out. You can't fake a scene with Will Smith. She was actually in that movie. So I'm telling you right now that media absolutely matters. Not so much just to prove your resume, okay, but also so that we can see how you act. We have to be able to determine whether or not you can act. This morning, I told a gentleman that, listen, you can do co-star stuff. You can do little 5 lines and under stuff. You can't really mess up "Here's your water, sir." But I'll knock on wood as I say that because I have a feeling that someone somehow will find a way to mess this up. But the bigger stuff, I told him flat out, I said, you're not a lead. There's no way he could carry a movie. There's just no way. And that's what you guys have to think about. It doesn't matter about how much you want it. It's about whether or not you have the talent. And then secondary to that, it's whether or not somebody believes in you and says, okay, I believe in you. You're who I want for this role. Like, I'm going to put you in this. But you've seen there are a lot of people that don't work steadily. Look at some of your favorite actors. You don't see them in projects all the time. Some of it's by their choice. Other times it's poor box office numbers. Okay. This is a business. You're bankable. And so you have to keep that in mind. All right. Enough about that. So now let's do HP. All right, so I'm just going to go with my lead, and my director is going to be Tanya Washington. I don't know who that is. I just made it up. Shout out to Tanya Washington. All right, so that's what it's going to look like for commercials. So if you look, we've done film, television, commercials. That's where we're at thus far. Okay. Now, if you don't have anything, then here is what I would do. I would create a header called commercials, and I'll do the example here, and then we'll delete it. If you are brand new to acting and you don't have anything at all, I would do commercials, and then I would do upon request and leave it like that. Okay? It's rare they're going to request anything. And if they do, you're just like, I'm new. They're going to know that because all you have is commercials on your resume anyway. And then you're just going to have training. All right? So this is where we're at thus far. I have to look at this monitor, not the main screen, because that one's live streaming. I'm trying to match I'm moving the mouse over the screen is what's happening. I have dual monitors set up here today. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move on. So if we go back to my original resume, you'll see that what I had was film, TV, commercials. You see I have available upon request there. And then I had modeling, radio, hosting, theater. All right. I did these just as headers, just to show you that anything else after film, TV, and commercials, anything else can go in here. It can be your runway stuff for modeling. It could be your radio stuff. It could be your hosting. Any of that can go in here. I tend to put the new media, the web series here. Okay. New media is television, so I'll put it up under there, but sometimes we'll put new media in parentheses so we know, hey, this wasn't, a major TV show, all right? Even though I did use Friends and NBC, right? And series regular, which means you're part of the cast. I actually did a really great job of breaking out all of this. I got to make sure I don't save over what I'm doing today. All right. So all of this can go in there. My recommendation is after commercials, you do that. But the last thing you're going to put on here for your credits is going to be theater. So we're going to just go ahead and jump ahead, and we've got this header here, and I'm going to do theater. All right. And in there, you're going to start putting in your roles. Macbeth. Now, I don't even know if that's how you spell Macbeth. I don't think I ever even read it. I'm uncultured. All right. So with this is where we do a couple of different things. You can go with your lead or supporting, or you can go with whatever the name is of the character that you play. It works if you're the main, titular character from this particular play. Like if it's Romeo and Juliet, you say Juliet, well, we know you were the lead. But sometimes you guys are in plays that maybe aren't well known. Not everybody can be in Hamilton. So you've got to help us out. So if you are playing a character in something, you can do this, where you can say this was the lead. Okay, you can also do it this way with a slash. Whatever you decide to do, stay consistent. Then on the far right, you have the name of the theater. Okay, and then that's where you can say wherever the theater was. Okay, the only one I know is the Pantages. I think that's how you spell it. I'm not even sure. That's what you should do for theater. Then at the very end, after everything is said and done, you will build your training section. Your training section is where you're going to list your improv, your comedy, your drama, and maybe singing if you have that, or vocal or dance or whatever. Okay. My recommendation is if you have a BFA or an MFA, a Bachelor's of Fine Arts or a Master's of Fine Arts, you do one line that just says BFA, says the name of the school, and keep it moving. You should not, in my opinion, list every daggone class you took while you were in university. It just looks crazy when you sit up here and you have movement for actors 1, movement for actors 2, movement for actors 3, movement for actors 4. And it's like, just put BFA and MFA, because at the end of the day, you're going to need to go outside of your university, and you're going to need to go to either UCB, Groundlings, or Second City and get improv. Okay. Now, don't argue with me about, well, I did my improv somewhere else and I'm fine. I know improv. You're forgetting about marketing. You're forgetting about what happens when commercial breakdowns come out and they say UCB or Groundlings only, please. You've got to play the game, folks. You can go train at other places, but you also need to get some of the places that we know and love on your resume from a marketing standpoint. All right. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to come out of these institutions ready to be on Saturday Night Live. You're going to actually need to invest more time and go to other levels. But a lot of you just take level 1, get it on your resume, and be done and be out of there. All right. With comedy, Actors Comedy Studio is where I send my guys and gals, because I've actually sat in the class. So a lot of what I'll do, and it's an unpopular opinion, I really don't care. It's my agency. I do what I want. I've been to the majority of the schools that I've said, okay, these are good. I recognize that everybody has a school. There are some schools where I will go in and set an audit and listen to what they're saying to make sure that they're not telling you something that's way off. Because in my experience, what happens is actors will come in and misconstrue something a casting director has said and then argue with me about something, and I'm not in the mood for it. That also tells me whether or not, your teacher really even knows what they're talking about. All right. So Actors Comedy Studio. Now, This third column for training, it can be used. You can put in the name of the instructor if you'd like. Okay. But ultimately, you can get away with just using the first two columns when you get to this part. All right. Whatever you do, just stay consistent. If you start with 3 columns, then use 3 columns all the way through. Don't shuffle back and forth and be weird. Okay. Drama, looking for a Meisner. That's the best way to describe what kind of fuels the United States. Meisner is the technique that's widely used in LA and New York, so I would suggest you use that instead of method acting Stanislavski. Okay, not to say there's anything wrong with it. It's just when I ask around, what are the techniques? Meisner kind of dominates everything. Georgia was saying they use Stanislavski. Up until now, I would say, you know, what, we're maybe 5 years into production being heavy in Georgia. Maybe there's enough there now for you guys to be method actors, but being a brand new market, I didn't really see how you could be method. Also being in a somewhat conservative southern state, I just don't see how you guys are able to portray some of these, you know, method acting experiences. And that's just my personal opinion. So Meisner, dance, wherever school you went to for dance, School of Dance. Okay. Now, you can also get in there and say, you know, ballet or whatever. You want to do that and say, you know, School of Dance. Great. All right. Then at the end, we have the BFA, the MFA, whatever it is. So we'll just say we have a BFA from UCLA. Okay. That's pretty much it. So when you're looking at everything, you have clearly defined headers. We have film, television, commercials. Commercials is in here twice. So if you are new to the industry and you don't have any credits whatsoever, what you need to do is make a header called commercials. And then right here in the first column, put upon request. Then you're going to scroll down to the bottom and you're going to put your training. You do not need to be trying to pursue acting if you don't even have the discipline to go take a class. That's just what it is. You have no business, in my opinion, if you're not even going to take the time to go take a class and learn a little bit about how things work. Take the time to be on set and learn how things work. Really take the time to learn about this industry so you don't make mistakes. I'll give you a prime example of something that just happened 48 hours ago. I have a client who's now a former client who decided that they wanted to start DMing the heads of different studios when they should not have. So I cannot express the importance of learning proper etiquette before you start doing things, because you may think it's harmless and you're just saying hello, but you can cause problems with the chain of command. Okay, meaning it came back to me from that studio through another studio to, hey, why is this person reaching out to so-and-so? It's causing a problem. It happened with an issue that I had a client had beef with another producer on a show, and Lionsgate themselves called me to complain and say, tell them to stop doing this, okay? I cannot express this to you enough of being patient, taking the time to go learn how everything works before you just dive in and get excited and go do it, okay? So again, if you're brand new, your resume is just gonna be commercials upon request, and then you'll have training. And you should, at a minimum, have improv. That's like the easiest thing to do. Improv is life, but you should, at a minimum, have improv on there. It actually works on both sides of the coin. It'll work for drama for you so that if something happens on the fly, you have something to say. Improv doesn't always have to be comedy. If you ask me, it's just your ability to be able to deliver something that makes sense depending on the vehicle, whether it's comedy or drama. I think Gunnar Todd at Actors Comedy Studio said the only difference between comedy and drama is the pacing and the delivery. And they're pretty much right. You could do the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and you could say that in a way that's super dramatic. And then you could take that same sentence and say it in a way that's actually funny. That's not wrong. Okay. So now let's deal with the professional biography. This is not where your hopes and dreams go. What I recommend you do is you talk about notable credits, notable training, and expert special skills. Okay, and so you're going to have 3 succinct sentences essentially that paint a picture. I need to grab the one I did for another client, but we'll go ahead and wing it right now. I'm pulling this out of my ass, so it doesn't even make sense to me at this point. Really bad example. I need to go get my good example. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second and fix my life. Okay, we're going to do a better job here. So I'm going to use the one that I actually have for one of my clients. All right, so this is an example of what your resume looks like when it's done and you've actually had a career, just so you know. So we have television first because that's primarily what she's known for. But you still see everything is the way it needs to be. The resume is already so long, we don't really need to list the commercials, but the commercials are available upon request, as I showed you as an example. The training down here shows all the training. And then we did something like this, where she's most notably known as Janine from Doogie Howser, an accomplished actress. She starred on Star Trek, Major Dad, Lies on Demand, and Tosh.0, a Cal Arts grad. She enjoys quirky and offbeat characters for comedy and hard and flawed characters dramatically. That's essentially what you want to do. That's what I was basically failing to do. Me. That's what I was basically failing to do as I was trying to write this thing randomly. So it'll end up looking like that, right? So say, Tiana Jackson is most notably known as Janine from Doogie Howser, an accomplished actress. Tiana's got started on these shows. Cal Arts grad. I enjoy quirky and offbeat characters for comedy and hard and flawed characters dramatically. That is a prime example of what you should do. And if you notice, each sentence pretty much breaks it down. I said, what are your notable credits? Notable credits. She's most known for Doogie Howser. Okay. But she's also been on these other shows that we're familiar with. Then we talk about notable training. She went to Cal Arts. And then we really just kind of talked about what her brand is and what she likes. She enjoys quirky and offbeat characters for comedy and hardened and flawed characters dramatically. It really is that simple. Keep in mind, there's a character restriction here for you guys in Actors Access. I think it appears somewhere up here for you when you're in there. It doesn't appear for me on the agent side, but just know you can't be super long-winded. It will get cut off. And from the last time I was in there, which was years ago on the actor side, it didn't really tell you either that that was happening. You could just see it. You'd be reading somebody's bio and all of a sudden it just abruptly cut off. Okay. So to me, this is the best example. We have 1, 2, 3 sentences, 3 succinct sentences that paint the picture. We tell her where she's from, where you may have also seen her, what school she went to, and what she likes. Okay. So going forward, hopefully this stuff makes sense to you. Going forward, you guys need to take the time to properly format your resume. It is not acceptable to just throw this stuff in here without headers, because then I can't make sense of what it is. And this is a me thing. I'm not going to speak for any other agents. I'm not really going to speak for any casting directors. This is a me thing. We have a certain standard here with the way things need to be set up. And if you don't meet that standard, we most likely will not call you in. So this is me trying one last time to teach you guys this stuff, but it's not my responsibility to teach you. That's the thing. It is not an agent's job to teach you how all this works. I don't care what anybody says. We work by commission only. That is $0. It is time, energy, and money for me to sit up here and try to fix all of you. You need to either get a manager or you need to start using YouTube, because I learned all this stuff watching other YouTubes and looking at things and then just really having some common sense at the end of the day. Okay? You guys are going to have to figure that out. Nobody's going to guide you and mold you the way you think they are. A manager might say they're going to do that, but I see stuff all the time from managers where they didn't do anything. In fact, the last thing I saw from a manager, the person's profile who submitted, who had management, their manager didn't even say anything about the fact that they had film, television, and commercials combined, all under one header. To me, that's just lazy. As you've seen, it's not that hard to go in here and just click header and make a header, and make a section for your resume. It's really not that hard. All right. Now, again, going back to the headshots, let's see. We'll just go ahead and do it here from my side. Nope, that's media, photos. So here's the thing. I can go right now and I can add new photos. I can manage this photo and say, okay, I want to remove this photo. And I can take it down. And then I can manage this photo and hit remove that photo. Well, now I have no more photos, right? Photo's gone. What I can do, though, is hit add new photo. It still has all the photos I've ever uploaded there, but it's not going to put all 4 of these up there, without me paying. So, for instance, we'll use it as a prime example. We'll use my first 2 headshots back when I was a little baby. Ooh. We'll choose theatrical. I can put it there, and now it's back. I can add the photo, and I can take my other old headshot, make that commercial, and I can add it back. And so now I've got these 2 photos up there. They're free. Now, if I go and I start trying to add another photo, guess what it wants? Shmoney! Look at that. $10, please. Right? So we can close on that. I'm not going to pay for it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go back to manage photos. And even if you saw it right there, it says actor has no free remaining photos, right? So what I'd have to do is I have to take those other 2 down. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and I think I can upload the photos now. I made a little thing on the desktop for you guys for this exact reason. Headshots. So we're going to try and upload a new headshot and see if it charges. Otherwise, then I'll take down the other 2 and go again. So I got new headshots, right? So now it's time to update your profile. You should be getting new headshots at a minimum, depending on your age, once a year. You might be able to get away with 2, maybe 3 years as you get older. If you have a baby, you're just going to take pictures of them regularly with your cell phone. But once you start having, kids that are like age 5, when there's work for them, you're going to probably need to get them shot somewhere between every 3, every 6 months. Okay. All right. So there's my new headshot and it uploaded and we're going to say continue, but I think you guys need to be reading what's on the screen here. I know how to manipulate this, but you guys don't. So you need to take the time to start reading what's actually on the screen. So it says, this tool will allow you to upload a new photo. Once uploaded, you will be able to do the following. Zoom in and out of your photo to show only what you want to show. Rotate it to show off your perfect angle. Move the photo around. Just click and drag. And so what it's talking about is say the photo I uploaded was more of a full body shot and I really just wanted the thumbnail to be more of my face. You can manipulate this, but it also depends on the size of the headshot when you upload it. So I say that as a caveat. All right. So here is my photo. Okay. So it's showing you will have the option to rotate a 500 by 700 printable version of your photo. So sometimes you may need to manipulate your photos too and make them a smaller size. I'm just throwing that out there. I didn't do that with these. These are actually in their full size, which is why they look so good and crisp. A lot of times you guys upload things that are in low resolution, and that's why your little thumbnails will be all blurry and grainy. Okay, and then a lot of times you guys can't afford to buy the photos from the photographer. So what do? You go in and you screenshot all the little thumbnails. That's why some of your photographers watermark it. And so you can see all that, and that's why things get a little blurry, okay? I don't recommend that. Remember, just like you see one of me, When casting receives a submission, you're going to see 3,000 at a minimum pictures like this. It's probably really 5,000 is the minimum now. So you're going to want to stand out in a good way, not because you're blurry and get glossed over. All right. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and hit continue, but let me play with the controls. So here you go. Look, you can rotate it. So if you had a photo that was sideways or something went wrong when you uploaded it, you can actually rotate it and make sure that it's the right side up before you hit continue. I've met some people who have literally uploaded their stuff like this and it's on their profile sideways. Makes no sense. Continue. Now this is where you're going to be able to set the thumbnail. And so if you can see this little blue screen, I'll move it over here. When you click on it, you can see it. What it does is it shows only certain areas. So say for some weird reason, I just wanted my teeth and my chest. I can hit apply changes. And now that thumbnail updates over here to be this. So this square shows you what you're going to see. Okay. So as you can see on the left, that's the full photo, but on the right, we just have this thumbnail. Now, what if you said, oh, I really do want to show this whole thing? Well, that's where you have to start manipulating things. So what you do is you zoom out with that photo. Okay, but see, you can make it too small. So then if I do this and that's there, I hit apply, it's going to be all jacked up. See, you don't want that. So what you have to do is try to zoom that photo in to where it fits within that square and makes sense. All right, so we're going to try to make it take up as much of the blue square as possible. Then I'm going to slide this up a bit. I'm going to apply changes. Not bad. Okay. Now, like I said, the only other way you can really get this to be what you want, which is this, is you're going to have to change that headshot size to really be like they said, that I believe they said 500 by 700, something like that. Okay. I feel like one point in time I did these and they were like 110 by 100 or something like that, or 110 by 110. I can't remember what it was, but when they're little baby thumbnails, but you don't want to make it that small because like I talked about, you'll have a loss of resolution. Okay. All right. So this works. Now say I needed to just slide you left and right. Say I wasn't good with the mouse and it's like, okay, I got my square where I needed to be. Let me just slide my photo so that it makes sense off in there. You can use these arrows for that. So if I wanted to go up and be in there and then apply it, okay, I've cut off some of my hair, but there's me, right? So you've got all these controls that you can play with that'll help you get the perfect thumbnail. All right. This thumbnail works for me. They don't need to see the rest of my arm and my hand. Who cares? Right. So you hit continue. Boom. Now, because I have the other ones maxed out, I need to actually remove some stuff because that's why it's trying to charge me $10. So we found that out quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to manage photos and we're going to remove my photos again. And as you saw, they don't delete them. They just kind of delete them off your profile, but they're still there. So that's the same thing even for you guys in the past, where if you paid for photos, they're still going to be there and it'll say paid underneath there instead of free. So we're going to try to upload. Hopefully we can still upload free photos. So let's go with this other one. Okay, there's me, my theatrical shot. And we're going to do what we need to do to get it right. Okay, boom, done. All right, and see now it's saying free. Now I don't need to pay because I pulled down my 2 free ones. So it is that simple. And since this is theatrical, I'm going to label it theatrical. So there are 3 ways you can label your photos. All it does is determine what shows up when we do certain submissions. We can set things to say, okay, when we're on a commercial, show me the commercial shots rather than the theatrical shots. That's what it does. So you're going to want to label some of these, okay? All right, so now that we've got this, we're on to the next spot. Order $0, submit. Because remember, we're uploading the free photos. So boom, we did it. Okay, and then you have a receipt, paid. All right. Back to the top. I don't know how to get back to where I was. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Go to my clients. Oh, please. So now we're going to go back to my profile. My profile. And we're going to manage the photos. Now, that photo is not there yet because we have to go select it. Oh, I don't even know where it is. What photo is that? Why aren't you there? That's weird. Oh, well, we'll keep going. All right, so I think what has to happen is you have to share your photo with your rep. There's a thing on Actors Access where you actually have to drag it up under the agency's name. Yeah, I feel like you're getting glitchy on me now. What's going on? So there is a final step that I'm just not going to show you, but you do have to go into your profile and it'll show what agencies you have if you have representation. And you have to take those photos and drag them up under that agency to actually share them with that agent so the agent can see them. Okay, that is probably what's happening here, but it's not that big of a deal for the sake of this example. Oh yeah, we're going to zoom out a little bit. Apply. Oh, I messed up. Okay. So you see, when you have your square too far out, it's what it's going to do is put that white there around it. You don't really want that. So you just need to move your, oh shoot, apply changes. You need to move your square so it makes sense. Okay. There it is. We'll do commercial, continue. What's this? Add items. Oh, you can add more. Okay. And submit. You can do a slate shot too if you want to do that. Okay. All right. That's as far as I can go with you guys for today. Okay. So I know this was long, but it's in real time. So going forward, there's no more excuses as to I don't know how, because I literally just spent 50 minutes teaching you guys how to do this stuff. Okay. You need to take the time to get your resumes in order, but also it sounds like a lot of you are jumping to agents just because you want to be famous, and it's not always going to work like that. You very may well, I'm not even sure what English is anymore. There's a possibility that you can get an agent and not have your stuff together. I see it all the time. But then your chief complaint is, well, I want a different agent because I'm not going out. And one of the reasons why you're not going out is because your resume is garbage. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah, there are times where you can get in there with just a face, especially if you're a big, tall guy with muscles. You can go out for security roles and stuff like that. It really doesn't matter about your resume because they're really just there to use you for your body. They don't care. They just want a big, burly guy to stand there and have the main character bump into you and you just growl at them. That's totally doable. I'm not saying that, you have to be 100% perfect, but what I can say is that sometimes your presentation is what is hindering you from getting where you want to go. So with that said, I'm Tiana Jackson.